So we looked we looked a little bit ago at problems that would look like, say, x squared times x plus 2, say plus 5 times x plus 2. And we go in there and we say, oh, awesome, check it out. I've got an x squared of something or other plus 5 of that same something or other. So that must mean I have x squared plus 5 of that something or other. All right, so the theory is now that they're not just going to give these problems to us on a silver platter, they're going to make us work for it. So we might see a problem that would look like x cubed plus 2x squared plus 5x plus 10. And that'll say, hey, yo, factor this out. And we're like, no, but we have to. So what we do is it's called factoring by grouping. And that basically means you arbitrarily choose pairs of things and hope that it all works out, which I wish it was a little bit more technical than that, but it's not. If you have things that are connected by a plus sign, then you can group them together. So the idea is you group things and then you look for a greatest common factor. So we're starting to pull multiple things together. So we look here, I have an x cubed and a 2x squared. So my greatest common factor here is going to be an x squared. They both have an x squared in them. Here I look at my 5x and my 10, and I can say, well, my greatest common factor here is a 5. They both have a 5 in them, and that's the biggest number that they both have together. So now what we can do is we can factor that GCF out. So if we factor an x squared out of x cubed, the only thing that's left is an x. If we factor an x squared out of 2x squared, the only thing we have left is a 2. Now, if you're kind of nervous about this, you can always go ahead and remultiply it together just to make sure you get the right thing. And we did, so that's good. And then we'll say over here, well, if I factor out a 5, if I take a 5 out of 5x, I'm left with an x. And if I take a 5 out of the 10, I'm left with a 2. And again, if you want to check and make sure you did it right, no problem. And that all worked out. So now, what we actually have is we have this x squared times x plus 2 plus 5 times x plus 2. And this is awesome, right? Because this is exactly what we wanted it to be. We have x squared somethings plus 5 somethings. So that means we have x squared plus 5 somethings. So see, step by step, super duper fun. As you learn one skill, then the next step becomes a lot easier. If you get stuck on a previous skill, then you're just kind of lost going on and on and on. So you want to make sure you understand everything that we've done before now, because now what we're doing with the grouping is kind of pulling it all together. So let's look at another example. If we had something like, say we had about 2x cubed minus x squared minus 10x plus 5. Now here's the deal with grouping. You can't just go pa-choo, 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 pa-choo. Remember, you can only, don't do that. The only thing that you can do is you can group things, you can group things around a plus sign. So make sure, only group things around a plus sign. So, like I said, if we stuck in our parentheses here, it's joined by a minus sign. Oops, it's now gone. It's joined by a minus sign, which is bad. We definitely don't want that to happen. So take all that away again, and let's rewrite it. So what we're going to do is write 2x cubed minus x squared, and then we'll write plus a negative 10x plus 5. Okay, does that make sense? The negative sign has become plus a minus. All right, so it's still, if you multiply it out, it's still going to be minus 10. But we fixed it now so we can join things, excuse me, so we can join things via a plus sign. Okay, So the next thing that we can do is we can look at each of these terms and say, well, what do we have in common? So these two guys have an x squared in common, and these two guys have a 5 in common. All right, so I can pull out an x squared over here, and I'm left with 2x. If I pull an x squared out of here, I have a 2x left. If I pull an x squared out of x squared, the only thing that's left is a 1. I can't just drop it. I've got to say, got to put in some kind of a placeholder. And you'll see this because if you multiply this through, you'll get 2x cubed minus x squared. If you had just dropped this off and made this a 0, then this would have not been there. So you definitely want to make sure that you put that as a 1 to get it all to work out correctly. So then we got plus 5 times, so if I pull out a 5 out of negative 10x, I've got a negative 2x left. And if I pull a 5 out of a 5, I've got a 1 left. Okay? Neat. And we can go ahead and check it just to make sure. So I've got negative 10x plus 5. Perfect, just like I wanted. So before you get too excited, you're probably seeing that something kind of funky has happened. We have x squared times 2x minus 1 plus 5 times negative 2x plus 1. And this is where we go, grrr. That's my unhappy dude. I don't know why he has freckles, but he does. He's not happy about this because these are not exactly the same. So we have to be a little bit careful to take account of this. But what you can tell, hopefully, is that they're different via a minus sign. So this is 2x minus 1. This is basically 1 minus 2x. They're opposite of each other. So what you can actually do, if you have something that looks exactly the same, except all the pluses and minuses are switched. If you have this kind of a situation, you want to factor a negative 1 out of one of the terms. Okay, so factor a negative 1 out of one of the terms. So I like the way this looks. I'm going to leave that one the way it is. But what I'm going to do over here is I've got this. So I'm going to leave this as x squared plus 2x minus 1 plus 5. Now I'm going to pull a negative 1 out of here. Okay, I'm going to pull a negative 1 out of here. So if I pull a negative 1 out, if I pull a negative 1 out of negative 2x, so think about that. If I pull a negative 1 out of negative 2x, I'm going to have left a 2x. If I pull a negative 1 out of a positive 1, you have to say, well, negative 1 times 1, or times what, is positive 1. And that's negative 1, okay? If you want to do the thing where we show all the steps, you can say negative 1 times negative 2x over negative 1 plus 1 over negative 1, and that'll get you these terms down here as well, okay? And I definitely encourage you, whenever you do this, to multiply everything through and make sure you get it. So we've got negative 2x plus 1. So that's what we wanted. Okay, so this is a little tricky, but you definitely got to be able to do this. So we have x squared times 2x minus 1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to combine these terms. I have 5 times negative 1. So 5 times negative 1 is going to be negative 5. And now here, I've got 2x minus 1. All right, so now finally we're in a position where we can go forward. I got x squared, blah, minus 5, blah, is going to give me x squared minus 5, blah. So again, I mean, this is just practice and experience doing this. And if you do like 532 of them, you'll be a total expert and just ace every kind of factoring problem you could ever see. So this is just something to look out for and to enjoy as you go along.